back to McMed Life. This is Fardad, your host, and what a year it's been. So obviously, growing the Corona beard, it's the trend, so why not? It's been about 3 months and 3 weeks or so that it's been going on. It's coming up very soon though, because it's not very sustainable and it gets messy. So this is going to be a very short directed video for something very specific. So the Med 1s are going to start at McGill pretty soon. So the reason I'm making this video is because I've been receiving a lot of messages via YouTube and also Facebook asking me very similar questions. So I thought it would be best if I address the questions here. So pretty much they're asking about where to go for, where to get a place for their first year, which is a very valid question. I had the same question, and where most of the classes are, and where would be best for the different kinds of activities that they have. So first, let me just say once again, congratulations, guys. It's no easy feat getting into medicine, and definitely not at McGill. So congratulations once again, and you're gonna hear this a lot, and you deserve it. It's you worked really hard to get here, so be very proud of yourself. And if you have, as always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to message me via YouTube or Facebook, whichever you prefer. I'm fine with that. So just before I dig in and show you on the map where you can, where in my opinion would be a good place to get a place, let me just show you once again. You see that, I don't know if you can see that, but that building over there, it's just over there, so it's kind of a round building. You may not be able to appreciate it over there, but I'm gonna try and show it on the video, mark it somehow. So that is McIntyre, also called McMed. So that is one of the main buildings you'll be going to, especially in Med 1, in year 1. So having said all of these, I'm not sure, given the COVID pandemic situation, how the arrangement of classes are. They might be or may not be, I don't know, physical classes to start with, but nonetheless, even if not for the beginning, soon hopefully they will transition to physical classes. That I do not know. You should check with UGME, and also maybe would be UGME, not the admissions office, I don't think. But from what I've heard, the Frosh this year is going to be online, so but classes are a different thing. So without further delay, I would say let's just dig into the map, and I'll give you guys my 2 cents on where would be a good place to rent your future a place for Med 1. So this is the map I wanted to show you. Well, if you are from Montreal, then you know what you're looking at. This is the map of Montreal. This is Montreal Park, and this would be downtown. So let me just zoom out a tiny bit, and here we are. So this is where McGill is located. So McGill doesn't have a closed campus, so it's an open campus, so the buildings are kind of spread out in a certain area, but nonetheless. And also there is the McDonald campus, which is kind of farther. I've never been there. That's for some other sciences. There's a shuttle that takes you there though. But anyway, that's besides the point. So this is downtown area of Montreal. And as I said, this is most of McGill buildings. This is Montreal General Hospital, one of the main hospitals that McGill works with. And so I just want to give you guys a quick caveat before going to decide where you live, because this is somewhat important to know on your decision
to make your decision where you want to live. So, as I said, this is McIntyre or McMed unofficially. This is where your most of your classes, especially during the first year, will be. You will have some things also over here and some over here. We're going to get to that in a minute, but before that, I want to show you guys the hospitals. So the hospitals that McGill mainly works with is this one, Montreal General Hospital over here. Also this one, Jewish General Hospital over here. Over here also we have St. Mary's, and over here we have, in fact this is 3 hospitals. This is RVH, this is Glen Sight, generally known as Glen Sight, which is Shriners Hospital, Montreal's Children's Hospital, and Royal Victoria Hospital. Okay. Over here, so these pink things you see are hospitals. So over here you also have Saint-Justin, which is a French hospital. It's a pediatrics hospital. So I'm just going to repeat the name so you're a bit familiar with them. This is Montreal General Hospital, aka MGH. This one is Jewish General Hospital, JGH. This is also, again, 3 hospitals here. Shriners is just known as Shriners. Montreal Children's Hospital is MCH. Also this one, Royal Victoria Hospital, RVH. Okay. There is also another hospital around this area, which I will show you in a minute. That's the MNI, or Montreal Neurological Hospital. Now, why I'm mentioning these hospitals is because they could be somewhat important in making your decision on where to live. So, especially the second half of your second year, and especially your third year, and maybe depending on where you're doing your electives during your 4th year, it would be important to access these hospitals. Just imagine sometimes you need to access them early in the morning. Like sometimes you start, depending on what you're doing, very early. So last thing you want is to be, so far from a hospital and which is not easily accessible to you. So ideally, you want a spot which is, easily accessible for McIntyre and also the hospitals. Okay, and there is no way you're gonna know which hospitals you're gonna be ending up working most of it, because you have rotation, so you could be spread out between the hospitals. Right, so with that aside, there is one kind of abbreviation which I want to mention, which is very confusing because I find it's not well explained, because I guess it's taken for granted that everyone knows, but you'd be surprised there are even people in your second year that are not really familiar with exactly what hospitals this applies to. So so I mentioned the abbreviations for the hospitals, again, MGH, JGH, RVH, and MNI, right? St. Mary's, as far as I know, doesn't have an abbreviation. So, but there is a term called MUHC, or McGill University Health Center, MUHC, which doesn't refer to this alone, or that at all. And most people confuse that with RVH, this side. They think this is MUHC, which is not. So MUHC is in fact 5 hospitals, and which Jewish General Hospital is not one of them. Okay, so if you hear MUHC, it doesn't mean a particular hospital. It just means the hospitals that are part of this McGill University Health Center. Now, so then you need to know where they're talking about, because it could be the MNI, it could be MGH, or it could be RVH. It could also be one of the other 2 sites. In fact, I just loaded it up for you guys so you can have a look. So I just came to mehc.ca. This explains to you which hospitals are part of it. So you see Lachine, Glen, MGH here, the Neuro or MNI, and some other places. Now let me just explain to you Glen. So Glen, you see it says over here, Montreal Children's Hospital, Royal Victoria, what Chest Institute is there, So you see Glen over here. Let me just explain to you what that is once again. So Jewish General Hospital, I'm going to zoom in a little bit over here. So as I said, that's not part of MUHC. St. Mary's over here. Let me just zoom out and go to so this is called the Glen Sight. Okay, so in Glen Sight, you have Shriners over here, and you have MCH or Montreal Children's Hospital over here, and you have Royal Victoria Hospital. So RVH, MCH, part of the Glen Sight. But typically people refer to this whole thing as RVH. Okay, so you see Glen Sight or RVH, just think this. Then when you come here, you can easily find out, well, not easily actually, find out where you're going. Okay, so that's one thing. The MGH over here we saw before. I just want to show you MNI as well before going a bit further. So this is the MNI, or Montreal Neurological Institute, and apparently it's world famous for some stuff as well. It's right next to McGill Gym, the athletic center, and it says temporarily closed because of the COVID situation, but that's another point. So that we saw. What else I want to show you guys? And by the way, the reason you see this path over here is because it's easier to pin things this way. So the part I want to talk about to you is this, okay? But before that, I just want to say this. The reason I showed you the hospitals is you want somewhere to be accessible. Now, let's start with this because it's easy. You see there is a metro or a subway station right here. There's also another one closer to Jewish, if you like. And these guys, so these guys are very accessible by metro. Not much walking after you get off. There's also this over here, Côte des Neiges. So this area is also called Côte des Neiges, by the way. So from downtown over here, there's a bus that goes that way, 165. There's also 166, which I think goes pretty much the same way, but 165 is kind of frequent as well, to be honest. So it's a good accessible path. So if you want to live downtown, it's important to know these guys are very accessible, either by bus or by metro. So you can take the metro anywhere and just get off, or take the bus from downtown and get off that. Now, this is MGH, or Montreal General Hospital, same story. So from depending on where you are here, this is very accessible, even walking. So you can walk from, let's say here, it's gonna be uphill. So this is uphill, this whole area. It's gonna be uphill, might be a bit hard to do in winter time, but maybe 10 to 15 minutes, not longer, but also accessible by bus. So if you take the 165, anywhere, say here, it goes that way, then it continues next to Jewish. So 165 is also accessible that way. If you come this way, and it's kind of important to know, the Pine Avenue, there's also another bus that goes on the Pine Avenue, which passes by McIntyre, and it also comes and passes by Montreal General Hospital. MGH, by the way, has two main entrances. So as you can see, it kind of bifurcates, goes both ways, up and down. So anyway, so you can get off the bus over down here and go, 165 down here and go. So MGH doesn't have a very close, well, I mean, this is not that far, but a super close, let's say, subway station next to it, but it's very accessible by bus, okay, or walking, depending on where you are. The other one is address RVH as well. So RVH is possibly the most accessible by metro because this is Vendôme, and you can get off at Vendôme, and there is direct underground access to these three hospitals. So you don't even need to get out. You can just walk by a very windy kind of tunnel and just go to the hospitals. So also there are buses around. This is a pretty busy hub, transportation-wise at least. So that's that. So some people choose to live close to this area because that means they're very close to this hospital, and also they can just hop on the metro and access Jewish or St. Mary's, or just get off here and take the bus, or just walk to MGH. So that's one spot people live in. The other one that people choose to live around is around the downtown Guy Concordia area over here, because this is, well, first of all, part of the downtown area, so it's happening. And also you can just get on the 165, go that way, 165 go to Jewish, or on the metro go to Jewish, or just on the metro Vendôme, then you're at the RVH site. So this is also popular. The other popular site, so here's the caveat though, if you live at any of those sites, then especially for your first year, you're going to be a bit further from this kind of triangle, if you wish. And when I say first year, by the way, I mean the first 18 months, because your schedule is very similar in terms of where your classes and activities are held in your first year and first part of your second year, okay? So all that to say, so you know about the hospitals now. I just want to tell you guys a bit more about this area, the McGill area, so that's going to help you decide where to live. So this is McIntyre, this is McMed, that's the informal name, but also the McIntyre building. So this, the round can-shaped building, this is where your most of your activities, most of your lectures and small groups will be during your first year, and also during your second year as well. Though in second year you have you're kind of divided. Some of your activities move to Strathcona building. So this McIntyre first year, good, your friend. Okay, you don't want to be too far from this if you are planning to attend the lectures or your small groups and whatnot. So, and also remember, this is uphill. So if you come this side or from that side, you're gonna be coming uphill. If you come this from MGH this way, it's not gonna be super uphill. So it's kind of maybe even tiny bit downhill depending on where you go. So there are some apartment buildings around this area, some around this area. So a lot of med students live in this area. Which is good and bad. So don't forget that you don't have very direct access to McIntyre by metro. Like you have Metropile over here, and from here walking to there is about 10 minutes. It's not far, but again in winter time, going uphill I've heard of people complaining, but you know what? To be honest, it's not really that far. But it's up to you. If you like a challenge or if you like to get a bit of a workout on your legs, honestly, 10 minutes is really not that long. So that's that. This is a very happening area. Prices over here may be a bit on the upper side, but it's very close to most of your buildings. So you're going to save a lot of time on commuting to at least your lectures and academic activities. Okay. And for your hospitals, again, if you're in this area, you can just go to Metro over here. You can come to Sherbrooke over here, take 24, the bus that goes, and it's very close. It goes to this area. Here you can change and get 165 again to MGH or to Jewish, or if you're in close to any of the metro stations, subway stations, you can just hop on and go to RVH as well. So all that to say, not a bad area to live in, especially during your first year. Maybe a good idea. So I don't live here myself, by the way. We get to that. Right. So the next hotspot, if you will, is this Strathcona Anatomy and Dentistry building. So Strathcona is where your anatomy labs will be. All right. So depending on what block you're doing, you may have no anatomy labs, or you may have quite a few sessions. Right. So this is also good to know. That's the anatomy building over here, Strathcona. The thing about Strathcona is, remember the first 6 months of your second year, I mentioned the first half of your second year, you kind of move between these two, maybe even mostly for at least the lectures in the morning, kind of in this area, in the Strathcona building. Okay, so. But the distance between these two is really not that far. It's probably you can go this way or you can go this way. And there's a soccer field around this area, so it's not an unpleasant path to walk either. But it's about, I would say, maybe 10 minutes tops. Well, not tops, 10 minutes walk. Yeah. If you're coming this way though, it might be a bit uphill. Okay. So it's Strathcona, second pin. So main building, somewhat main building. The third pin over here, and this might be a bit nostalgic for you because the Steinberg Center for Simulation and Interactive Learning. So this is where your MMIs took place at. In fact, well, these three buildings are connected underground, so your MMIs actually took place right over here. Okay, so this is also important because you will have some sessions during, your 4 years, and even in residency actually. You will have sessions at the sim center. Okay, so you don't want to be too far from this. But honestly, if being right next to your building is your thing, maybe being close to McIntyre, I would say, should take more priority, especially during your first year, than Strathcona, than this, because based on the number of commutes you have to make. Your first year, almost every day here, depending on what block you're doing. Some blocks, some days here, and also this one, you will have a few sessions during your first year. Okay, I'm gonna focus on your first year because second and third you're gonna know the campus anyway. So there are three buildings over here. You see les appartements La Cité. So these three buildings are part of this La Cité kind of complex. So there's a fourth building actually right in front. So somehow this is not part of this complex. So these three complexes, which by the way, I myself live here. So I live literally on top of the sim center. So some of my friends and colleagues from dentistry and medicine, they live in these buildings as well. Okay, so these are kind of popular as well with the medical students or dentistry students. And so new residence hall, this is where you were waiting before your interview. So you were at the ballroom down here, in the downstairs. Let me see if I can just show you guys. Yeah, so that's the building. You may remember you were going in this way and waiting in that area. So let me see if I haven't tried this before. So, okay, so we're a bit farther. So this is McGill Gym, by the way. So that's McGill Gym. Okay, I don't know why it dropped us here, but let's see if we can get to that area. Maybe if we can put myself. Okay. Let's see. By the way, just to avoid clicking on the laptop, I'm using an external kind of trackpad. So it's not, if I'm not very good with clicking and all that, it's because of that. Because I don't want to make the clicking noise on the laptop so you guys can have a clear sound. So, okay. So this is La Cité, one of the buildings. This is the other building I was talking about. And third one is over here. So the basement of that, so this is my building actually. So the basement in this, as I said, these are all connected underground. So the basement over here is where your sim center was. And right behind us, over here, this is new residence hall. So it's a university hall. And you were waiting for your interviews in the basement in that area. Okay. So you know what? I'm just going to walk you through to Strathcona. Why not? So it's not far. From here to Strathcona is about 5-minute walk. In fact, I think once I went and I timed it, it was about 4 minutes. So here you come out, I come out, I go that way. Again, sorry about the clicking. I'm trying not to make noise for you guys. So it's just a nice walk, and when you get, obviously there's construction, but once you pass all the constructions, which I cannot guarantee they'll be done by the time we get here. Nope, let's go that way if I can. Just trying to avoid. Okay. clicking. So anyway, so once you get here, and let me just turn, we came all the way from that building over there. We came here, it's a nice walk. Over here, so these are some McGill buildings. If you want to go to the library, which I'm going to show you on the map as well, you can just go this way, a bit down right, or you can just go up here down as well. Very, very nice walk. And Strathcona is just here. You have to go that way. So let me see if I can go. So this building over here is a Strathcona. Okay? So this is where your anatomy labs will be, and also some of your courses, some of your classes will be given here in your second year, maybe even some in the first year. So let me just walk you a little bit further up. It's a nice walk, nice short walk, let me say. I want to show you guys, by the way, if I'm, so you see neuro, it says neuro, so this is the MNI, the Montreal Neurological Hospital. As you see, it's also one of the MUHC sites, so it's very close to everything. So it's not a bad area to live. So this is, by the way, this whole area is called McGill Ghetto. So if you hear that term, this is where they mean. And the McGill Gym, which we saw before, so let's just make a kind of a round tour. Because to be perfectly honest with you, for me, you know, I like to keep active, so the gym was also a big factor. So this is the gym. So there are a lot of things in this gym that, you know, it's not just a gym, obviously. It's their swimming pool. It's called the Athletic Center, Recreation Center or something. So you can always Google it to see what they have. It's you know what? Let me see if I can show you the actual gym as well, because it looks outside. Okay, so that's the gym. So these are what we can't see, but treadmills over there. Let's see if I can go a bit further. The reason I'm coming here is because I want to show you Montreal as well a little bit. Okay, so that's the gym. So Montreal itself is over here, which is a very beautiful park. So I don't want to just go do this because you guys can do it yourself. So I don't want to take your time a lot. But yeah, this is Montreal, which you can go and see further. It's very beautiful. A lot of activities, especially in the summer. It's gorgeous. And yeah, so that's that. So let me see if I can zoom out. Okay, okay, perfect. So let me just show you what we did. We started here next to the gym. We went down that way. We saw this. Then we came that way, exactly that way. Then we saw Strathcona. So from Strathcona, you can also obviously come to McIntyre that way or that way. That way is more scenic. You know, there is the soccer field, as I mentioned. Also, if you remember, I said when you get here, you can go to the library. So let me just show you where the library is. So it's this area over here. So you can just, when you get here, come down that way. Or depending on where you live, you can just, it's very easily accessible. Okay, perfect. So that's a short, more. It's a bit long. Sorry, I know it's a bit long, this video, but I tried to give you as much information as I could, and hopefully it's gonna work as a reference as well. So when you visit a few places, you can, come back and watch the areas. So just to recap, this area is called McGill Ghetto. This area over here is the plateau. So you can go to the plateau, very French speaking, but it's a very beautiful area. Mile End also beautiful. Then you have Autremont, also very French area, beautiful as well. Then so these parts would be a bit maybe far. I mean, I don't know if you want to live there. It could be a bit hard to get to here every day. Having said that, I have friends who live very, very far away. So, it's completely up to you. We have some people who, live pretty far, and they come every day, early in the morning. So it depends on where you want to go. So again, McGill Ghetto. This area is also popular, close to McIntyre. Downtown area popular. close to this area is also popular. Vendôme area, also Côte des Neiges area popular as well. What else? Plateau as well. Plateau is good too. Price wise, okay, I would say probably this area, especially the ones closer to McIntyre, is going to be a bit more expensive because there are, chances are you're going to find apartment buildings, not a house where you can rent and share rooms. But I could be wrong. I mean, there are places available. You just have to do your homework. McGill Ghetto, the chances are you're going to find a better price. I live in an apartment building, so it's not negotiable, and I don't share. But if that's completely up to you, if you want to share with people, I've obviously shared. I've had roommates in the past, not recently, but in my life I've had roommates. My idea was, if I'm doing medicine, I want to be focused on what I'm doing. So maybe it may not be the best idea to share, but a lot of people do, and both work. Honestly, there's no right answer. It just depends on your personality and habits. Okay, so that's that. Price wise, maybe the ghetto, especially if you go for houses and have roommates, more affordable. This area possibly a bit more expensive. Downtown area, you can find both, more affordable and more expensive. Close to the hospitals, possibly more affordable because again you can have roommates and get a house or something. Here as well, possibly more affordable. What I would say, maybe the Plateau also would be more affordable. Same situation, you can get a house and have roommates. So that, but again, even in these apartment buildings over here, I know of some of my classmates who live together and they're sharing a bigger apartment, so that's also doable. And in fact, it's not a bad thing. They get a somewhat fancy place, and since they're sharing a couple of bedrooms, so it's not uncomfortable, and it's also not that expensive. So all that to say, I hope this information was useful. If you guys have any questions, please reach out. I'll be more than happy to answer as soon as I can. Things are a bit busy, believe it or not, for me at the moment, but yeah, if I can help in any way, by all means. If you have any questions about the beginning of your journey also, by all means, I've tried to have that in my channel before, some information for that, but I'll be more than, in fact, I think I may make another video looking back 2 years, since I did block A, your first block, just to share some thoughts. And again, anything I say obviously is my own opinions, but I'll be more than happy to share what I know with you guys. So thank you guys for coming back to McMed Life, and this is Farda, your host, and I hope to see you guys soon.